Today we're going to be looking at how to convert decimals to fractions. Let's take a look at 32.549. We can see that the 3 is in the tens column, which means it's a 30. The 2 is in the units or the ones column, and that's just a 2. The 5 we can see is in the tenths column, so that can be written as 5/10. The 4 is in the hundredths, and that can be written as 4/100. And the 9 is in the thousandths column, and that can be written as 9/1000. If we look at 3.2, we know that the 3 is in the ones column, so we have 3 holes there. And the 2 appears in the tenths column. Therefore, that is going to be 2/10. So we just write it as 3 and 2/10. 5.78 would now become 5 and 78/100. So you may be asking, but how is that 78/100? Well, the 7 is 7/10. The 8 is 8/100. If we add those together, we can see that if we have the same denominator, we can rewrite the 7/100. So we'll write 100 there. So 10 times 10 is 100. 7 times 10 gives us 70. And if we write the 8/100, we can now see it's 78/100, and that's why that would be 5 and 78/100. Let's have a look at this one. So now we know that this is a straightforward 4 and 26/100. Now it's your turn to have a go. Have a look at questions 1 and 2 and see if you can write those as fractions. Pause the video now and come back when you've done. Okay, let's have a look. The first one now is simply 7 and 31/100. And the second one is 2 and 975/1000. So I'm going to explain number 2. We had a look at how to separate 31/100 into 3/10 and 1/100th, and we saw that that was the same as 31/100. Let's have a look at the 975/1000 now. So here we've got 2.975. So we know that the 9 is 9/10. The 7 is 7/100. And the 5 is 5/1000. If we write all of those fractions over the same denominator, so ideally I want to write them over 1,000, I can then add them quite easily. Well, the last one is already written for us, 5/1000. Let's look at 9/10. To go from 10 to 1,000, I need to multiply by 100. So I do the same thing with the 9 times by 100, and I get 900. I then look at the 100 over here. That needs to be multiplied by 10. So I multiply my 7 by 10, and I get 70. And now you can see 900 plus 70 plus 5 gives me 975/1000, which is why we write that straight away as 975/1000. So if the question states partition 2.34 into fractions, we just write 2 plus 3/10 plus 4/100. So you can split that number up now very, very easily. Let's take another example. Let's say we have 3.107. Well, in this case, we have a 3 plus the 1, which is in the tens column. We have a 0 here, but that's 0/100ths, which is just a 0, so we can ignore that. And then we have the 7, which is 7/1000ths. So we've now split up 3.107 as 3 plus 1/10 plus 7/1000. Have a go at this one, 2.1374. Pause the video now and try and convert it, or rather split it, into fractions. How did you do? Well, I did add a 4 at the end, which is slightly different to what we've seen so far, but it follows the same rule. So let's have a look. So we have 2. The 1 is in our tenths column. The 3 is in our hundredths column. The 7 is in our thousandths column. And the 4 is in our 10,000ths column. And that's all you need to do.